Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's program. I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to all of you who have been watching our series of virtual programs, not only here in the Bay Area, but throughout California and throughout our country, actually, and in England, France, Italy, Panama, South America, and Japan. I truly appreciate it and hope you continue to enjoy our programs. I wish to thank Joseph Lamb, professor of Ikenobo, for his program last month. He truly showed the elegance and style of Ikenobo Ikebana. Thanks also to all of those who did the site arrangements. You helped tremendously in the enjoyment of the program. This month, we present two arrangers who have been friends for a long time, Louise Ling from Ikenobo and yours truly from Sogetsu. We hope that you will enjoy the program and will find the sharing of the love of flowers transcends the various schools and unites all of us Ikebana artists. If you have any questions for our demonstration during this program, please text them to 510-915-1584. There will be time for question and answers at the end of this program. Now, I would like to introduce Keeth Souza-Courpet, who is the day chair for today's program. Keeth?
Thank you, Ron. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. Before we meet our two featured demonstrators in sharing the love of flowers, please join me in meeting 5 members from Ikebana International San Francisco chapter who will share their creations with you. Irene Jenkins from Aratame, Nadine Suyehiro from Ikenobo, Mitsuko Maruyama from Ohara, Mina Lum from Sogetsu, and Connie Chen from Wafu.
Hello, my name is Irene Jenkins, and I study with the Aratame School of Ikebana. My sensei is Sumi Metz. Today, I'm using a vase that I made and plants from my garden. I have leucadendron, Wilson's Wonder, Xanadu philodendron, red bark maple. The pincushion proteas came from the flower market.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nadine Suyehiro. I study Ikenobo Ikebana. My sensei is Joseph Lamb. Today, I've prepared a Rika Shinputai arrangement, which is a little modern Rika. I've used this palm fronds as my inspiration for the arrangement. I like to take walks in nature, so after a storm, I was walking and I found this palm fronds on the ground. I liked it because of the texture and the lines that it had and the beautiful color. So I wanted that to use this for my New Year's arrangement for you. The next piece I have is the quince. The quince is a winter flowering branch, and it has very delicate blossoms on it, and I love it. And it brings you hope and inspiration, love and life. And I think we need it now with the COVID-19. And I just hope that we can eradicate the COVID-19. So that's what the quince branch represents. In this arrangement, I also use the Nandina. And Nandina is good fortune. It came from China, and China use it in their temple grounds to represent the good fortune. Also in this arrangement, I use the Nandina leaves. Nandina is everlasting, and it represents joy, happiness, and new beginnings, which we hope that the year of the ox is going to bring us. In this arrangement, the other pieces are supports to my main branches, which is the shu, which is quince, the yo, which is the palm fronds. And I've used the 3 friends. In Japan, we use the shochikubai arrangement for the new year. So that's the pine, the bamboo, and plum. But in this case, I've used the quince, flowering quince. So pine is everlasting green and very strong and enduring. And the sasa bamboo is what I used in this arrangement, instead of the tall bamboo that we're used to seeing. And the tall bamboo is generally used for the shochikubai arrangement. So the other supports to my arrangement today are the azalea. I use liatris, the cherry blossom, ruscus, golden stick. I have some juniper, and also I use freesia, brasilia. So I hope you can enjoy this arrangement. It has a lot of symbolism in this arrangement for the new year. So have a cup of tea and enjoy this Zen moment. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mitsuko Maruyama. I've been studying Ohara School from Mrs. Suyo Fujimoto. Today's arrangement is Heika style, using forsythia to show the line. It's from my yard, and herbarium from my yard also, and palm leaves. I hope you will enjoy the rest of arrangements and demonstration. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Mina Lum from Sogetsu School. My teacher is Yoshiko Williams sensei. This is my freestyle arrangement. I use the bamboo strips to create the round shape, and I got some flags from my yard to make some loops and curvy shape. And I also put some lilies and some small ball for the accent. I hope you enjoy my arrangement. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Connie Chen. I study Wafu School, and my sensei is Souza-Courpet. Today, I made a double arrangement by using kiwi, wax flower, mint fern, palm leaves, and anthuriums. I have the upright pattern, and the proportion between my two arrangements are about 80% and 20%. In my main arrangement, I use kiwi to emphasize the line, and wax flower and mint fern create a mass, in and out mass, and the main flowers anthuriums. For my second arrangement, I did not use anthuriums. I used the wax flower to keep as a main flower to keep my arrangement simple. And these two containers made by Mr. Thomas Arakawa, he named Fusako balls. So by using these two containers, I would like to show my appreciation toward to my sensei, Souza-Courpet. I really admire her dedication in teaching, and I learned a lot all these years. So thank you for watching my arrangements, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for helping us to greet everyone this month with such lovely arrangements. As a reminder, we will be having a question and answer session at the end of this program. Please text us at 510-915-1584. Again, that number is 510-915-1584 with your questions. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our featured demonstrators today, Louise Ling and Ron Brown. Louise Ling is a senior professor of Ikenobo Ikebana, 4th grade. She began her studies in 1992 with Mr. and Mrs. Psyche, then studied with their daughter, Julie Nakatani. To enhance her knowledge, Louise participated in study groups to the Ikenobo Central Institute of Ikebana in Kyoto, Japan, as well as locally sponsored workshops. She serves on the board of several nonprofit organizations, the Ikenobo Ikebana Society of Northern California as membership chairperson, Ikebana International San Francisco chapter as our recording secretary, the Ikebana Teachers Federation as first vice president, the San Francisco Gusen Music Society, and the Friends of Onlook as their treasurer. Louise is a strong supporter of the community, participating in local demonstrations and exhibitions, including the Cherry Blossom Festival and the Bouquet de Arts. She also enjoys music and dance and is a member of the Grant Avenue Follies. Ron Brown brings innovative, inspiring enthusiasm to Ikebana audiences and to his students. Ron's journey in Ikebana began as an outgrowth of his interest in ceramics and the utilitarian use of ceramic vessels for aesthetic purposes. He began his studies in Sogetsu Ikebana in 1979 with Burley Fidanzo, later becoming a student of Shuko Kobayashi until his retirement, and since 2007 with Kika Shibata. Ron holds the rank of Komo. Since his retirement from a 35-year career in the wine industry in Sonoma and Napa counties, Ron has been actively pursuing his passion and love of Ikebana as a second career. While regularly teaching Ikebana classes in Sonoma and Marin counties, Ron also demonstrates and exhibits often for many groups throughout California and beyond. In April of 2017, Ron went to Japan, where he received the Akane Teshigahara Overseas Award. Ron has been a member of the Ikebana International San Francisco chapter for many years, 40 plus. He currently serves as the president of the chapter. Ron is the director of the Sogetsu San Francisco Bay Area branch and a member of the Sogetsu Teachers Association in Tokyo. He is also on the board of the Ikebana Teachers Federation, where he serves as recording secretary. Ron is noted for creating Ikebana with discarded objects and rusted metal pieces. He also creates works of black ink on paper of both abstract expressionism and traditional scenes, as well as oil monotypes of non-representational subjects. A longtime resident of Cloverdale in Northern California, he and his wife, Margaret, have raised 5 children, and he continues to enjoy and find inspiration in this area's natural beauty. Please join me now in sharing the love of flowers with Louise and Ron.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for viewing our program today. Louise and I have been friends for quite a few years, and we've served on many flower boards together. We've worked on flower shows together, and we've spent, plus the other advantage is I have stayed at Louise's place in her garage, and I know where all the best restaurants on Clement Street are. So I'm very grateful for that. So one of the things we decided to do was swap containers. Louise had me use this very classic Ikenobo container, which I'm sure you all recognized. And then I sent to Louise 2 Sogetsu metal containers that come from Tokyo. Now, when I saw this container, I thought, what am I going to do with this? Louise really doesn't like me. And it has been a challenge, but I've enjoyed working with it. And we have dried giant bird of paradise leaves, yellow chrysanthemums, and this orange material, which is kind of like Japanese or Argentinian pampas grass, but it's dyed orange. So this is my arrangement, and I hope you enjoy it. Louise?
Well, thank you, Ron. Your arrangement looks wonderful. The vase that I shared with Ron is a vase that's typically used for shoka, shimputai, rika, shofutai, and rika shimputai styles in the Ikenobo Ikebana. Now, I don't know what Ron was thinking when he sent me these 2 vases. I open the box and I go, my goodness, here are these angular vases, not 1, but 2. What was I to do? At first I tried using loopy material, making big circles. It didn't seem to fulfill my desire or my concepts at all, how I would like things to look. So yesterday I was shopping at Trader Joe's. I saw the tropical flower bouquet and I picked it up and came home. And this is what I came up with. Heliconia tea leaves, the little round balls, they seem to be dried little sponges. I don't know exactly what they are because it wasn't defined on the package. And then I softened the whole arrangement using asparagus fern. As I was waiting to talk to you about my arrangement, I sort of scooted around, and the arrangement sometimes I think looks better from other angles. But for today, this is the way you see it. Thank you so much.
It's a nice job. I like what you did with those containers.
Thank you. I hope I surprised you.
Yes, you did, Ashley. I like that design better than with the loopy things. I think the loopy things would have, and I don't know what kind of loopy things they were, but I think that would detract from the containers. There'd be too many circles, if you know what I mean.
Right, because I did want to show off your container, because it would seem a shame just to totally hide it.
Yeah, I kind of did a good job of hiding your container too. But
that's okay. Your arrangement looks wonderful.
Thank you. I'll take you home with me next time.
For our next arrangements, Ron and I decided to use bamboo, or should I say that I decided that we should use bamboo. My container is constructed from bamboo that was left over from one of our biennial exhibitions. And I had a friend help me drill the holes and put the container together. So it has a little bit of history. It's at least 8 years old. And I decided to use my container to create a traditional naturalistic Ikenobo Ikebana arrangement using magnolia and just a little touch of camellia leaf. In the ideal situation, I would have used white magnolia and red camellia. However, where I live, there's no such thing right now. So please enjoy. I love this arrangement. I think that you can look at it from many different perspectives and find it interesting, calming, and very soothing. Thank you. Ron, what are you up to?
Well, I picked up this bamboo over the weekend and from a friend's house. And I decided to make a very whimsical structure, which this is. One of my favorite things to do is to take bamboo, make windows in it, add little appendages to them. There's actually two pieces. There's the big piece down here, and then this one over here. And since we have circles, I decided sunflowers would be great. So with that in mind, I want to mirror to a certain extent what's been done with the bamboo circles. Of course, these two pieces are free. They can go anywhere they want. Taking some of the petals off, some of these. Take a few more off. I like the way this looks. You know, just a few blossoms. Or maybe none. Now, the tube has no mechanical support in it, so it will do as it wants to do. And I like sunflowers. To me, they're very happy. And I think we need happiness this time of year, or this season. We've faced some crises in which there has been very little happiness. And there. Keep it very simple with a great deal of whimsy. So I hope you enjoy this.
Ron, I love your sunflowers.
Thank you. And I like your tulip magnolia. Here it is. I know my head is cut off, but that's okay. Let's add one more. So we have 3 and 3. So, two very, very different approaches. Very naturalistic
Right.
style that you have, Louise, and a little bit of whimsy on my part. And I like working with bamboo. You can do many, many things with it, but I will tell you right now, when you use bamboo, make sure you wear gloves because it can cut your hands very badly. So I hope you enjoyed both of our arrangements.
Right, mine the traditional and Ron the modern.
Or as my grandson says, Why do you do that, Grandpa?
I'd like to turn my arrangement just to see what it looks like. We don't have to show it on the video, but I was just, if it looks more interesting this way. But it's hard to see, I think, to look through this way as well.
Yeah, I like it that way.
Anyway.
I would maybe turn it just, yeah.
Yeah, because you see more of the flowers. The other way you saw the empty space.
Right.
So I thought that this is interesting as well.
Maybe
And
you can
maybe
even,
more interesting.
maybe you can even turn it a little more. Yeah, yeah. Nice.
That's interesting from every perspective.
That would be a good one for all around.
Yeah. That's something where, no matter where you're seated, you would have a pleasant view of the arrangement.
Correct, correct. Very nice. Should we go on to our last arrangement, Jim? Okay. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is take this tie off. Otherwise, I'm going to cut it when I'm trying to cut my materials, and that would not be good. So this arrangement is using this vase, Mitsumata, baby's breath, and these absolutely gorgeous red leucadendrons. So I will get out of the way since the red seems to, my shirt seems to absorb the red, so you can see it later. Okay. And there are two kinzans in the bottom of this. Louise, if you'd please tell the story of these containers.
Okay. How we came about using this vase is one of our exhibitions. Ron would always come and stay in the city a few days earlier for prepare for the exhibition. And he saw this vase in my bathroom. And this vase was filled with hydrangeas. The hydrangeas are an example of the use of the concept of mass in Ikenobo Ikebana. To create the rhythm arrangement, the hydrangeas are placed loosely. And so you have an up and down sort of movement as the hydrangeas go across the expanse of the vase. A sense of rhythm is also created by the variation in the color, the white, the blue, and the white. To give it a little bit of accent and sort of brightness, I'm just going to put in some crocus. If the crocus will cooperate, and they have. And just this little touch of color brightens up the arrangement. To give it another level of interest, I'm going to be using baby's breath as well.
Now I've split the Mitsumata because if I don't, it'll be very difficult, even though it's kind of soft. The tips, the bottom portions are very hard, and it'll be difficult to get it into the container, into the Kinzan, and I don't want to break my pins.
By using the baby's breath, what I've done is I've added another layer of interest to the arrangement and also made it look a bit larger.
Okay, all right.
I chose the baby's breath so it would have a feeling of softness and gentleness.
As Louise said, baby's breath really does a softening of the materials you use. Winter arrangements, I use baby's breath as kind of an aspect of snow. Which is nice. Not that we are having snow like Texas is having. I emailed a friend of mine over the weekend who lives just outside of Dallas and asked her how she was surviving. And she says, I'm doing fine. She says, I have a heater. My power didn't go out. I guess power has gone out all over the place in Texas. She said, however, my son finally had to find another place to go to because the inside of his house was 37 degrees. Now, that is way too cold for my San Francisco blood. Cold and snow is something I watch in movies. I think a White Christmas. That's about as daring as I get with snow. One more here. Maybe two more. And another nice thing about baby's breath is it will dry. So if it's in an arrangement, you kind of like where it's going, you can leave it in and it will dry in place. Okay. Now, I found these, I wish I could say these grew in my yard, these proteas, but unfortunately they don't.
Well, originally Ron wanted to use anthurium, but Ron told me a little bit too late and it was Valentine's week. So there was no way that any anthuriums left at the San Francisco flower market for me to send to him.
Well, the other thing too, I was, when Louise and I were talking about this, I wanted to stay away from something that was really cutesy and somehow heart-shaped heart-shaped anthuriums was a little too cutesy. But I think this works just as well.
I think it's very nice, very nice.
Well, I'm not done yet.
No, I can see, we're looking at the screen, you know, the color.
A little too long. And of course, one of the things about arranging from the back is that sometimes you don't really know how well things are going on in the front. Even though you may practice, it still sometimes is amazing when you go around and look in the front, go, oh, that's what I did. And you can bend leucadendron, but when you bend, don't bend like this because you'll crack and break it. Put your thumbs behind the stem like that and just kind of gently manipulate it. Now, one crack is okay if you hear a crack. Two cracks, you've lost the branch. I think I want one coming out this way. Pardon my sniffles, all of a sudden my allergies have started to act up. And one more down over here. So here's my arrangement. Unfortunately, it seems like some of the baby's breath is a little washed out, but that's the way it is. So hope you enjoy it. That's very nice, Louise. I like the way you did the hydrangeas.
Our original intention was for the tips to meet. Technology was not able to make that happen.
Yeah, it was a bit of an interesting adjusting the cameras and trying to make it happen. And we just decided that's just a lot of work. So if you can imagine the tips meeting, but I guess now the back
That's
end.
right. And I was beginning to feel quite insecure.
Technology is wonderful.
So thank you, Ron. I enjoyed working with you today.
Thank you, Louise. I always enjoy working.
Thank you, Louise and Ron, for your beautiful and informative demonstrations. We had such fun seeing the similarities and the diversity in your schools. Any questions can be texted to 510-915-1584 right now if you have not done so already. Maruyama Sensei will now read the questions. Thank you for making time in your day to enjoy the beauty of flowers.
But Ron told me a little bit too late, and it was Valentine's week. So there was no way that any anthuriums left at the San Francisco Flower Market for me to send to him.
Well, the other thing too, and the other thing to be sure, you need a really good saw, Japanese saw, because the blades cut opposite of American saws. And I actually changed blades twice while I was making this. When you cut bamboo, think of cutting a round piece of glass, because that's basically what bamboo is. It's a silica. So it will dull a saw very quickly. So make sure you have a couple saws available to you. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you. Now this is to Louise. In your second arrangement with bamboo, how did you connect the bamboo pieces into a V like that?
Ooh.
And a very precise angle, so it would they would meet and make a right angle, and also to stabilize the pieces so that the vessels would not move when the material was placed inside the circular openings. When I placed the materials in the circular openings, I did it very carefully and very slowly. So, and I stabilized it by putting additional small pieces of magnolia so that the positions could be maintained by the floral material.
Their presentation. Okay, thank you. Now, this is to both of you. Loved your joint presentation. It was spontaneous and lively. How often do artists who make their presentation reach into other schools of Ikebana?
Could you repeat the question? I didn't really quite understand.
Yeah, repeat it, please.
Okay. How often do artists who make their presentation reach into other schools of Ikebana?
I think in an area like San Francisco, I think it's very often because we have the opportunity through an organization like Ikebana International to really interact with other flower arranging schools and become enriched by their ideas. Ron?
Yes, in particular, Ikebana International, about twice a year, we will have a theme for our program. And we will have 4 schools. Well, there are 4 schools represented in or 8 schools represented in our chapter. So we will have 4 schools one time, say in winter. And it's an all white arrangement representing winter. So these 4 schools will give an interpretation. Springtime, we may have another 4, the rest of the 4 schools present a program with their interpretation of what spring is like. So we do that once a year. However, Louise and I I think this is the first time for both of us that we soloed together. All right, oh no, that's the wrong term. Duetted together.
I think if you think way back, there was one occasion when we both did a demonstration for II. It was a single arrangement, but it was a long time ago.
Must have been. My brain cells don't go back that far, Louise.
Okay, thank you. This is to both of you again. What drew each of you to the school you are in? And do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
You go first, Louise.
Mitsuko, could you actually repeat your question? I only caught part of it.
Okay, what drew you into your school? I guess it's more like
you said, what do you, and that part, the next section I missed.
I guess this question is more like, why did you decide to choose Ikenobo in your case?
Oh, it's a very interesting story. Actually, I'm a good friend of Joseph Lamb, and actually Joseph was taking Ikebana from Mr. and Mrs. Psyche. And Joseph was approached me one day when I saw him, and he said, oh, why don't you go and learn how to arrange flowers? You know, for, and those days it was $10. And he said, for $10, you can learn how to arrange flowers and also take the flowers home. And that's how I got started.
Do you see yourself in 5 years from now in Ikenobo school?
I do, but I'm also getting up in years. So I see myself not taking such an active role.
Okay. How about you, Ron?
Well, as Keith said in my introduction, my interest in pottery is what drew me to do Ikebana, because I didn't, back in the mid 60s, we had all the people making colanders and bread pans and all that kind of stuff in those ghastly blue brown glazes. And so my first teacher, Burley Fidanzo, was teaching a short course in Ikebana at the local JC in Santa Rosa. And she was Sogetsu, and I was hooked immediately. I just thought this was the greatest thing in the world. So 40 some years later, I'm still doing Sogetsu. Where am I going to be in 5 years? Hopefully, still doing Ikebana and still doing Sogetsu, still teaching. I would like to step back from some of my commitments on some of the organizations. And although I think as long as I'm upright and walking, that may or may not happen.
I agree, Ron. I would like to stay active, but as I mature, I think that I need to step back a bit.
Maturity is way overrated, Louise. As long as I can drive, I'll pick you up and take you wherever you need to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, another one that, have you ever considered a joint virtual program with another Ikebana chapters?
Not recently. I mean, we have done programs where we had for II where we have invited other chapter members like Monterey, and 3 or 4 members of Monterey would come up and present a demonstration. Same with the Sacramento group, II group. A couple of them, 3 or 4 of them came to San Francisco and presented a program. But that actually is a wonderful idea, to merge a couple of the chapters together and do a joint presentation. We'll have to work on that.
agree.
That sounds like
It
a
takes a little
wonderful
bit of
idea.
work. Actually, it takes a lot of work.
Oh,
I agree.
Louise, you're a professional now.
Well, thank you very much.
Excuse me?
Thank you very much. This will conclude the Q&A section. And thank you very much for the wonderful demonstration.
Well, we thank all of you for watching.
Thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank Louise for being my partner in today's program. We definitely had fun in planning the program, and I think we had even more fun in presenting the program. Now, if you would like to view this program again, or if you know someone who would like to see it, it can be found on the chapter's website at www.ikebana.org. And there is also a whole lot of information about Ikebana International, both the San Francisco chapter and the headquarters in Tokyo, Japan. Just a note about next month's program, March, Kika Shibata, Riji with the Sogetsu School, will be our demonstrator. She will present a program entitled Harmony. Kika Sensei has been a fixture in the Bay Area Ikebana world and beyond for many years. I'm sure you will not want to miss this program. So with that, thank you all very much. And stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you all in March. Thank you.